everyone, this is Ashley, and today we're going to be learning about semicolons. So what is a semicolon? This is a semicolon right here. You might recognize it because it is on your keyboard. So a semicolon is a punctuation mark that can be used to separate parts of a sentence which need clearer separation than what would be shown by a comma. So let's go for what is the point of a semicolon? Like, why do we need this versus a comma? So the most common way to use a semicolon is to connect two independent clauses. For example, the ice cream truck man drove by my house today. He had big hairy knuckles. Instead of two sentences like that are separated by a period, we could change it to this. The ice cream truck man drove by my house today. See, we took a breath there. He had big hairy knuckles. So this is how we can do it with a semicolon. The ice cream truck man drove by my house today. He had big hairy knuckles. See, here I had to take a breath and pause because it was a period, while here I could just read it fluently. So when do I use a semicolon? You must use a semicolon when using adverbs like however, thus, therefore, otherwise, and many other adverbs. So here are some examples of the do's and don'ts. So I like California, comma, however, comma, the traffic is bad there. This is wrong. We have a comma splice. Comma splices are when there are too many commas in a sentence. So as you can see here, we have two right next to each other. It just sounds a little weird. And then we have, I like California, however, the traffic is bad there. We have no punctuation here at all. That just sounds way too much like a run-on sentence. We need some pauses there. And then we have the correct one. I like California, however, the traffic is bad there. This is right because there are no comma splices, and it's also not a run-on sentence. This semicolon allows us to take a pause and not make it too crowded with two commas. All right, here's a video to help explain it too.
A semicolon is a kind of punctuation mark that lets you pause more than a comma, but less than a period. It's usually used to link two or more ideas in a sentence. But these ideas need to be able to stand on their own. We call them independent clauses for that reason. For example, I enjoy visiting New York. I love living in London. If we wanted to, we could make these independent clauses into separate sentences. I enjoy visiting New York, period. I love living in London, period. Both of those sentences can stand on their own, but when we join them together with a semicolon, we can better feel how the two ideas are linked. There are two ways you can join sentences together. You can use a coordinating conjunction and, or, nor, but, yet, so, or you can use a semicolon. Note that if your second sentence begins with an adverb like however, thus, or therefore, you should use a semicolon if you want to join the two sentences together. I like New York, however, I always feel like a tourist there. If you try to use a comma instead, you'll wind up with a comma splice. And if you leave out the punctuation altogether, you get a run-on sentence. Both of those are very uncomfortable for the reader.
Okay, so hopefully that helped you better understand what semicolons are. And don't worry if you don't understand it right away, because actually a lot of people don't know how to use semicolons. So this will be a great tool for you. Okay, so here's some examples of the differences. So we have Peter reads superhero books, but Tom reads science books. That sounds very great because it's got only one comma, and it isn't using an adverb, so we only need a comma there. Peter reads superhero books. However, Tom reads science books. Here we have to have a semicolon because we have an adverb, and we already have another comma right here. Peter reads superhero books. His friend reads science books. You see here, we can combine the two, so it's just one sentence. So, as a reminder, this is a semicolon, and a semicolon is a punctuation mark that can be used to separate parts of a sentence which need clearer separation than what would be shown by a comma. I hope you have a great day and that you learned something today.